I used a personal email account. It was allowed by the State Department. I did not send nor receive classified material. I made a mistake, and I'm sorry for all the confusion. I opted for convenience. In retrospect, this didn't turn out to be convenient at all. I take responsibility for that. I take responsibility.
Well, a little bit of the changing story about Hillary Clinton's email saga there. Some of her recent comments regarding her use of that private server for her State Department emails during her time as secretary.
In her latest column in the Washington Examiner, Sarah Westwood talked about some of the new revelations regarding Mrs. Clinton's private email server, and she joins us live right now to discuss those new revelations. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So what was the biggest news to come out of Tuesday night?
Perhaps the biggest piece of news was that Hillary Clinton and the State Department have given conflicting accounts about when the agency made the initial request for her emails. You know, Clinton has characterized this as a routine housekeeping request that was sent to all former secretaries of state just in case the State Department didn't have all of their emails. But now the State Department is coming out and saying that's not the case at all. In fact, what happened was they were trying to respond to subpoenas from the House Select Committee on Benghazi when they realized they didn't actually have any of Hillary Clinton's emails. So now it appears that Hillary Clinton was misrepresenting the nature of the request to sort of put it in a more favorable light, and it really raises questions about what actually happened.
Well, another thing that raises questions is the FBI says we can recover emails. So how do other agencies and prosecutors not know that's a possibility?
Well, the FBI right now is the only federal agency that has access to that server. When other agencies like the State Department have reached out to try to set up some sort of cooperation agreement, the FBI has actually refused to work with them. Just this week, the FBI said in a federal court case that it couldn't even confirm or deny the existence of this investigation, which we know is happening because Hillary Clinton herself has acknowledged it in public. So they're just really digging in their heels. They don't want to work with any of the other agencies, and right now they're the only ones who have access.
Well, Sarah, let's talk about Hillary's progression on another key issue moving forward. That's the Keystone XL pipeline. Here she is during some recent campaign stops.
This is President Obama's decision, and I am not going to second guess him. I will tell you about Keystone Pipeline one way or the other. I think it is imperative that we look at the Keystone Pipeline, and I can't wait too much longer. I oppose it.
So finally she comes out against it. What do you think is behind the timing of her announcement?
It's really a mystery to a lot of people who have observed this, because the initial excuse that she gave for not giving an opinion on the Keystone Pipeline was that she was involved in initiating the discussions about it while she was Secretary of State, but she was also involved in initiating the Iran negotiations, and she's had no problem coming out with an opinion on that deal. It's really questionable then why she used that excuse not to talk about Keystone Pipeline. But that aside, she's been facing pressure from the left to sort of move in a more progressive direction. Bernie Sanders has been really vocal against the Keystone Pipeline, and as you know, he's starting to siphon away support from her, and she needed to come back at him and sort of flex her progressive chops by standing strong against the Keystone Pipeline.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. You know, she continues to get some pressure from the left wing of the
Right.
Democratic Party, and now she's kind of grasping at straws as a way that she can answer those concerns. When you look at some of the recent polling, not only is she facing intense pressure from Bernie Sanders, who is a declared candidate, but Joe Biden, even though he may not join the race now, is what it looks like, he continues to inch up in the polls as well.
Exactly. This is likely a direct result of these email troubles. People are seeing this. They are remembering what it was like to have the other Clinton in the White House, that it was scandal after scandal and really distracting from the issues they cared about. And even though Bill Clinton ended up being an enormously popular president, people don't have that same kind of appetite for scandals. And in today's media world, she's not able to survive them the same way that they did in the 90s. That's reflected in every poll you see coming out, that there's really no alternative to her in the Democratic side. So a candidate like Bernie Sanders, who's so unlikely to become the Democratic nominee is eating up a large share of support.
Yeah, the difference is when Bill Clinton tried to explain away those scandals is you wanted to believe him. He was a lot more charismatic, and Hillary doesn't seem to be gaining that kind of traction with the electorate. They just don't seem to buy it.
No, they're not. That progression maybe isn't helping her either. No,
her changing, evolution, as it were. Sarah Westwood, thanks so much for being with us. Always great to check in with you. Hope you can stay out of the traffic as much as possible there in Washington, D.C. with the Pope in town.
I'll do my best. Thank you.
All right, before we go, we have a special offer for you. Get the book Francis, A Pope for Our Time, free right now. Learn about the personal experiences that shaped Pope Francis's commitment to society, to society's most underprivileged and disenfranchised. You can get the hard copy of the biography from Newsmax right now. Go to newsmax.com/pope or call the number you see on your screen.